Okay, so here's that flamethrower you've been wanting for that Lion King remake. It's gonna be fun for roasting marshmallows.
Good, that movie fucking deserves it.
And here's your surprise gift.
Paper, coming from a guy who owns like 14 game consoles.
It's a Switch code for Luigi's Mansion 3.
Oh, awesome! I'm gonna get it in my Switch right now. Hang on. Don't you hate Luigi's Mansion?
I got you something I know you'll love. Not something I don't like. I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose of buying somebody else a present.
Good point. Alright, time to put in the code.
I better put on my bulletproof vest.
Why would you need a bulletproof... You stupid motherfucker, bringing back that shitty franchise after 2 years, what the f... I wanted it to be done, but no, you have to bring it back.
Ow! Oh, blow, dude. Shit.
You deserved it.
Just hear me out. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Hear me out. This game has gotten good reviews.
You're kidding me.
It has 8 out of 10 on Steam. You said in your last video you want to see if he improved. Well, here's your chance.
I'll be in my review room.
Yay!
Season's greetings, Yoshi players, and welcome to our final video of 2019. As you can see by my clearly excited expression, I just got bestowed upon a game to review for Christmas. No, it's not anything I would have wanted to review, like Nitro Fueled, or even Luigi's Mansion 3. It just had to be the new Bubsy game, Paws on Fire, for the Nintendo Switch. Well, you can thank the dickhead Klee for thrusting this game upon my catalogue, lying fuckhead. If you're at all familiar with my channel, then you pretty much know my thoughts and viewpoint on Bubsy. Simply put, I hate the fucker, and he was responsible for some of the worst games I have ever played. That, and he was also a part of, quite frankly, the worst cartoon pilot that's ever been created. The first installment on the Super Nintendo, I don't really consider that terrible anymore, but it's still one hell of a frustrating time. The sequel was even worse with how jumbled each level was. The Jaguar game was tedious at worst, and the less I say about Bubsy 3D, the better. After the train wreck that was that game though, Bubsy disappeared for over 20 years until he returned in 2017 with Bubsy: The Woolly Strike Back. I reviewed the game back when it first came out, and I thought it was mediocre at worst. It wasn't a bad game, I definitely did consider it the best Bubsy game in the franchise, but given the low bar that he sets, that's not saying a lot. However, at the end of the game, a quote said, "Bubsy will return." Apparently Accolade were being true about this, because 2 years after the release of that game, we have a new Bubsy game, also tainting Nintendo's own console, which is the version that I'll be playing for this review. In all fairness, I didn't dread this game coming out. I read some of the reviews and I was actually surprised to see that people actually like this game. So is it actually any good? Well, given that it's apparently a thing for me now, I better take a look at the new Bubsy game. So the plot of this game pretty much needs no introduction.
Uncle Bubsy! Uncle Bubsy!
Yes, your eyes aren't deceiving you people. This game is not only another return for Bubsy, but it even features characters from the cancelled Bubsy TV show. I'm assuming they're here because of gameplay styles, but on the one bright side, at least none of the original voice actors returned, and that's a good thing because if I have to hear someone like John DiMaggio playing any of these characters, I'm gonna bitch! In this game, Bubsy's arch enemy Oinker, who is apparently the villain from the second game, has returned to capture animals and put them in a zoo, and Bubsy of course has to go and stop him. He's also joined by his two friends, Virgil and Arnold the Armadillo, and a Woolly assigned by the idiots themselves. And I still proceed to call them idiots after the shit they did in Bubsy 3D. In this opening cutscene though, Bubsy is also given these golden shoes. For what reason? Gameplay. Whereas the other games were mainly platformers, this one is a runner. Your character will continuously move on the ground, and all you have to do is jump, slide, or attack when prompted. This isn't much of a surprise when you consider the developers behind this game are Choice Provisions, who, outside of working on the Bit Trip series, also worked on a few auto runners as well. Since they mainly prioritize in that genre, their real task is making their runner games entertaining with some variety. And for the Bubsy series, that's actually somewhat of an accomplishment. Yeah, out of all the Bubsy games in the franchise, this one has the most variety. And by variety, I mean that there are actually different characters for you to play as, and thank God, because if I have to spend another minute with this fucker, I will lose my shit.
What could possibly...
Each character has their own playstyle. Bubsy can
go wrong?
Bubsy can glide through the air and throw himself in front of enemies, Virgil can slide under gaps and do a double jump, and the Wooly consists of Gradius style levels where you have to shoot enemies in order to get to the end. Holy shit, Bubsy's on fire! Am I invincible? Oh. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all the game has to offer in terms of gameplay. I can appreciate it for having more variety, but how much variety is enough to keep the game entertaining? And in my opinion, I don't think Bubsy Paws on Fire has enough, because your goal in each level is the same: get to the end and rack up as many points as you can. That sort of misses the appeal of actual runner games, because most of them are endless runners, meaning that the challenge is trying to stay in the game as long as you can, and the longer you're in the game, the faster it goes, making it more and more challenging and motivating you to try again. But in this game, there are actual levels that you have to complete, and each level is plastered with plenty of checkpoints, so if you die, you don't start from the beginning, you start from your last checkpoint. Because of this, there's no real challenge to this game, and most levels come off as the same. Some may look aesthetically different, yes, but what you're introduced to at the start of the game is pretty much all you get. It doesn't add any other obstacles to the levels, it's just the same here on out. I mean, sure, each level has leaderboards, and I somehow managed to get in the top 10 on one of them, but is that really enough to make you want to play through the same levels again? This is why I feel like this game either should have had more things to do, or give us an endless runner mode that gets more and more challenging the longer you go. But nope, you're pretty much stuck with what you get, meaning that if you finish the game, there's nothing left you can do. Though on the positive side of things, the collectibles in this game actually mean something. Not like in the last game where you just collected them because, well, collectibles. There's a shop you can access and give characters either different costumes or different paint jobs, and that's about it. They're merely cosmetic and don't really add anything else to the gameplay, though because of how little these costumes offer, there are thankfully no microtransactions. And this is just a personal pet peeve of mine, but when you play as a different character in a certain stage, the level layout is almost the same. I don't mean the placement of the enemies, I mean the aesthetics and level layouts are still the same. Like, were the developers too lazy to give the characters their own unique levels? Bubsy and Virgil's levels are pretty much the same, the only difference is that one can glide and one can double jump. The Wooly stages are okay, but they're very bland and don't have a lot to offer. The only reason you'd want to play as each character is that when you complete a level with them, you earn a medal. You can also earn an extra medal by completing the bonus stage with Arnold the Armadillo, which is only accessible once you collect 3 pieces of an Arnold token with each character on that level. Arnold's special stages are basically Sonic special stages from Sonic 2, which I already wasn't a fan of, except I'd much rather play those than this because the one thing making Arnold's levels even worse than Sonic's is the controls. You know how in Sonic 2 where you hold left and right and Sonic will naturally steer in that direction? In Arnold stages, the only way you can get to another part of the pipe is by holding the analog stick in that direction. So let's say for example you're on the left side of the pipe and you want to go to the right side. You can't just keep holding left to go in that direction, you have to hold the analog stick in that direction for him to go that way. This keeps throwing me off every single time. I mean, I guess I can see some people getting used to this control style, but for me, it's not very fun. I only just play these levels as another cheap way to get another medal. Graphically speaking, it looks kinda bleh. I mean, this is an 8th generation video game, yet the graphics themselves don't look very intense or like something that belongs on the Switch or PS4. Other games on PS4 and Switch look way better than this, and yet even despite this game not looking very graphic intense, I still experience some frame rate drops every now and then. When it comes to glitches, I didn't experience many on my end, though I have heard many people experiencing even worse glitches than me. The loading times are also abundant, they're everywhere. I have the digital version of this game, and for some reason it still decides to take a really long time to load. CTR Nitro Fueled had longer loading times as well, but that was for a good reason at least, because of all these graphics. Bubsy Pulls on Fire barely looks passable for a PS3 game, yet the loading times are not only abundant, but some can take a really long time. This game has 3 worlds and most levels look exactly the same, so even when it comes to environment there's not a lot I can say about it. Which leads me to believe that this game wasn't properly polished. I mean, with the loading screens, the graphics not looking that intense but still resulting in frame rate drops, and the few glitches that I and some people have experienced, I can't help but get the feeling that Choice Provisions just wanted to finish this game as quickly as they could so they could never touch Bubsy again. With all due respect to Choice Provisions and wanting to make a runner game for the Switch, Bubsy Pulls on Fire just doesn't have a lot to offer to keep my attention. And I have to be honest guys, I didn't even beat this game. I got about 2 hours into it, which was about nearly halfway through the second world, before deciding to just quit. The levels were becoming draining and not that fun, and since this game doesn't add many new obstacles in each level, that made it even worse for me. Look, I don't typically do that when it comes to reviewing video games, but when I stopped halfway through the second world, I just had to ask myself, was I really gonna miss anything if I stopped here? When I looked at footage on YouTube, I saw that nothing else changed and nothing got better. I appreciate the variety, but I think Bubsy Pulls on Fire had too little variety to make it interesting, as well as missing all of the key features to make an entertaining runner game. I wouldn't mind this so much if this was more of a handheld mobile game, but because it's a home console release, I expect there to be more variety to it, especially when you look at the price for this game. At its base level, Bubsy Pulls on Fire cost $40. What? There are plenty of games on PS4 and Switch that cost way less and offer way more. Cuphead is $30 and that has more to offer. Why is this $40? That might explain why this game is a console release, just so Accolade could push that $40 price tag on it. In fact, you know what? I probably do like Woolly's Strike Back more than Pulls on Fire, because for as short as it was, at least it was a platformer, meaning that you could approach obstacles in different ways, and the controls were better. The point I'm trying to make is, there's no reason for you to play this game. There are plenty of other games on Switch and PS4 that cost much less and offer way more. This game just feels like another Bubsy game that they had to force out, and because of that, I can't see many people remembering it for much longer. Now watch as I proudly delete this game off of my Nintendo Switch, hopefully forever. Well, there you go, a review on the new Bubsy game. Cleve, are you sure this game got good reviews?
I'm positive. Just look at the Steam reviews. I was actually kind of hoping you'd enjoy it this time, given all the reviews it's gotten.
Well, I don't see it. It just seems like no matter what company handles Bubsy, his games will still continue to be either mediocre or outright terrible. They seriously should have just let Bubsy stay dead. Like I will.
Wait. What are you saying?
I'm saying that I'm not going to be reviewing Bubsy anymore.
But how will I get my entertainment out of you?
I still have to review Norm 2.
Oh yeah. I bet you're gonna love that. Wait. What about Norm 3?
Don't push your luck, pal. Look, I know some people will possibly be saddened by the news that I want to stop reviewing Bubsy, but the games just haven't left an impact on me anymore. For as terrible as the early Bubsy games were, they were terrible in a way that I got something out of them. And I could talk about how terrible they were, but the recent Bubsy games are just so bland and forgettable that I just don't have the same reaction. Sometimes playing a bad game is better than playing a boring game because of all the insane shit that happens that at least gets a reaction out of me. But at this point, Bubsy is no more than just a cash cow cow of his former self. I mean, okay, the original Bubsy games can also easily be seen as cash cows, but I can also somehow see that Michael Berlin wanted to create a character with his own personality. The only reason Accolade and Billionsoft are still releasing Bubsy games today is either because of money or just memes. But they should focus more on making something new, something fresh, something unique for the Bubsy franchise. And after what they've been trying to do recently, it just hasn't left the same impact on me anymore. That's why I want to stop reviewing Bubsy, because if this is the direction that Accolade is going to go through, what's the point of me staying if I'm just going to keep repeating myself again?
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I got you something as well.
Ooh, what is it?
It's a certain movie involving your favorite goof.
Goofy movie!
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Cleve.
Man, you know how much I love... How am I so stupid that I fall for my own trick? You son of a bitch! I'll fucking end you for giving me that shitty movie!
That's some real comedy right there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and until we meet again, happy holidays!
Sit, Bubsy, sit. Good cat.
Great. Now he's done with Bubsy and almost done with Norm. How will I cause him misery? Oh, I know.
You're just laughing for the heck of it, aren't you?
Maybe.